Sometimes danger doesn't knock at the door. It connects quietly to your Wi-Fi. One of the most secure places on Earth were vulnerable because of the devices they trusted the most. In this video, we uncover the true story of how a simple router, ordinary and overlooked, became the silent messenger of a massive government leak. It's a reminder that the smallest objects can hold the deepest secrets. Before we begin, be sure to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you never miss hidden truths, digital mysteries, and the quiet signals shaping our world. Let's step into the story together. The infected device. It began with a simple, everyday Wi-Fi router installed in the office of a government contractor. On the surface, it looked like any other off-the-shelf unit, clean, sealed, and ready for use. No one suspected that this common piece of equipment was anything more than a portal to the internet. But buried inside its firmware was a sophisticated backdoor designed to capture everything that moved through it. The router had been compromised before it ever reached the office, intercepted somewhere between manufacturing and delivery. It was repackaged to look untouched, but it was now a digital spy. Once installed, it required no activation. It simply started listening. This wasn't a software attack or phishing scam. It was hardware-based infiltration, and it had silently entered the system without anyone noticing. Silent surveillance. Once the router was online, it blended perfectly into the network. It intercepted data from emails, file transfers, video calls, and secure logins. All of it quietly recorded and funneled out. To users, the internet worked fine, maybe even a bit faster than expected. But every bit of sensitive information was being siphoned off without delay. Unlike traditional malware, this attack didn't crash systems or trigger antivirus alerts. It operated below the radar, targeting the infrastructure rather than the software. The router turned into a listening post, and the hackers behind it were now inside a government-linked facility, watching everything unfold from afar. Harvesting government secrets. As days turned into weeks, the router collected a staggering amount of classified material. The system was connected to defense projects, budget documents, surveillance data, and diplomatic cables. Every time an employee logged in or sent a file, the router copied it and forwarded it through encrypted relays. Eventually, one batch of information stood out. It included files about a highly confidential surveillance operation involving multiple agencies. These files detailed operations that could impact international politics. That one leak alone was enough to compromise an entire mission and risk diplomatic retaliation from other nations. Undetected for weeks. What made the situation worse was how long it took for anyone to notice. Since the router operated at a hardware level, traditional cybersecurity tools didn't raise any red flags. Teams were busy tracking phishing emails and external hacking attempts, while the real breach was sitting right on the office shelf. This created a dangerous illusion of safety. Employees and administrators felt protected, relying on software firewalls and endpoint security. But none of those systems had visibility into what the router was doing. The hackers had exploited not just a technical vulnerability, but a blind spot in the entire cybersecurity culture. Discovery through a glitch. The breach came to light by accident. During a routine audit, a network technician noticed strange latency patterns and outgoing traffic from an unexpected IP address. Initially dismissed as a minor configuration issue, the anomaly kept appearing until a deeper forensic scan revealed irregularities pointing directly to the router. When cybersecurity experts tore it apart, they found unauthorized firmware that had been masked to mimic legitimate code. The device was sending data to multiple foreign servers through hidden channels. What looked like a simple piece of plastic turned out to be one of the most advanced espionage tools they'd ever seen. A geopolitical time bomb. Among the leaked data was information tied to covert surveillance programs in regions under geopolitical tension. These weren't just technical blueprints, they were active strategies, revealing who was watching whom, how, and when. The exposure of these operations posed a serious threat to international stability. The documents revealed communication intercepts, drone surveillance plans, and intelligence assets operating abroad. If this information reached hostile governments or got leaked to the media, it could unravel years of secret negotiations, burn intelligence networks, and even trigger retaliatory cyber attacks or sanctions. Tracing the origin. Once the compromised router was exposed, investigators tried to trace its origin. They discovered it had been manufactured in a third-party facility with ties to a known cyber espionage group. The firmware was found to be similar to past attacks used by state-sponsored actors, but the sophistication of this version was unprecedented. This wasn't the work of ordinary hackers. This was a planned, well-funded, and long-executed operation. The router had been planted like a sleeper agent, designed to wait quietly and strike only when plugged into the right network. It was espionage, just without spies on the ground. Internal chaos. Inside the contractor's offices, panic erupted. Employees were pulled into closed-door meetings, and emergency security protocols were launched. Investigators shut down entire systems to prevent further leaks. Contractors were interrogated, files were confiscated, and all communications were temporarily cut off. The breach triggered a domino effect across other agencies. If one router had been compromised, how many others were out there? Governments and corporations began recalling and inspecting their hardware, sparking a global reckoning on hardware security and supply chain risks. Public silence, private alarm. The public never learned the full extent of what happened. A brief statement about a hardware vulnerability was released, but no mention was made of elite surveillance programs or international implications. Behind the scenes, however, diplomatic channels were on fire. Intelligence agencies from multiple countries began reviewing their infrastructure, and new protocols were rolled out almost overnight. This one breach had exposed a vulnerability so massive that even allies began questioning the security of shared technologies and systems. A wake-up call for the world. This incident was more than a data breach, it was a global awakening. For decades, security had focused almost entirely on software, firewalls, encryption, antivirus programs, and login credentials. But this breach proved that all of that can be bypassed by a simple device that looks harmless. A router, something found in every home and office, had quietly outsmarted the most secure networks in the world. It forced governments and corporations to confront an uncomfortable truth. Security isn't just digital anymore. It's physical, supply-based, and deeply vulnerable. No matter how advanced your firewall is, it's meaningless if the gateway hardware is already compromised. The infected router became a chilling symbol of modern espionage. It showed how trust, once the foundation of our digital infrastructure, could be weaponized. Every sealed box, every branded cable, every glowing LED was now a potential threat. And that's how one innocent-looking device shattered the illusion of digital safety. When we blindly trust our tech, we leave open doors we never meant to build. This story is a call to stay aware, to look closer, and to never underestimate what hides in plain sight. If this opened your eyes, give it a thumbs up and let us know in the comments. What device in your life do you trust without question? Don't forget to subscribe and tap the bell for more stories that reveal what lies beneath the surface. See you in the next one.